Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around our different regions. My name is Nicole du Plessis. I'm a science officer at the National Research Foundation's South African Environmental Observation Network, and I will be moderating this webinar today. So just to know that, please, the chat function is available. So please, you're welcome to introduce yourself within that. And noting that we do have, I think, a very tight schedule. I think that we are going to start as we wait for different participants to join. But I do just want to indicate on the agenda, we do have one change there is that we will not have someone from our Department of Science, Technology and Innovation providing any remarks today. But that is the only change. So to kick us off, I would like to welcome Professor Christopher Isike, who's the head of department at Political Sciences from the University of Pretoria. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Nicole, serving as moderator. Um, do I go ahead and just do the welcome? Yeah?
Yes, please do.
All right, so well, it's afternoon in South Africa, but it's morning from my side. So greetings to everyone, distinguished representatives of the Indian Ocean Rim Association. I want to also especially acknowledge the presence of Ms. Zelda Frolic, Director, IORA Secretariat, if she's here. I see Mr. Molope, the SA IORAG Chair. I also want to appreciate our keynote speaker, Associate Professor David Mikler from Curtin University in Australia. The UP Ocean Regions Program Coordinator, Dr. Sonia Theron. Our discussants, Ms. Ruth Kasanga from the UP side, and then Ms. Uvashi Apia. They are from the IORA Secretariat. Thank you very much for coming. Let me also recognize the founding members of the Indian Ocean University Network if they are here. It's from Curtin University, University of Mauritius, University of Pretoria, of course, Jawaharlal Nehru University in India, University of Dhaka in Bangladesh, University of Nairobi, University of Seychelles, and Università de la Réunion. And then, of course, to our scholars, students, and partners across the Indian Ocean region, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again, I say greetings to you all. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the IORA Day 2026 webinar themed Knowledge Bridges to Catalyze Connectivity Across the Indian Ocean. So we gather today to commemorate IORA Day and also to reflect critically on the intellectual architecture, that underpins regional cooperation in one of the world's most strategically significant maritime spaces. So the Indian Ocean is no longer just a peripheral arena in global affairs. It is the epicenter of maritime trade routes, energy flows, digital cable networks, fisheries, resources, and geopolitical contestation, of course. And over two-thirds of global oil shipments and a substantial proportion of container traffic traverse the waters of the ocean region. Yet, alongside opportunity lies vulnerability, to climate change, for example, maritime insecurity, biodiversity loss, there's illegal fishing, debt pressures, and uneven development, which all continue to shape the lived realities of our coastal and island communities. So against this backdrop, I think that knowledge is not a luxury. It is actually a strategic infrastructure that we can leverage. And that's why today's webinar highlights the indispensable role of IORA's academic networks, particularly the Indian Ocean University Network, in building that infrastructure. The University of Pretoria, through the Department of Political Sciences, has been involved in the consolidation of IORA priority areas through research, partnerships, knowledge sharing, as well as teaching and learning engagements, such as our participation in the International Relations in the Indian Ocean region short course, and of course, being a founding member of the Indian Ocean University Network, which took place November in 2024, and I was privileged to attend this in Mauritius alongside our Dean of Faculty, Professor Kevin Thomas, who has asked me to send his regards to all of you. So indeed, universities and research institutions serve as epistemic bridges across borders. They generate policy-relevant research, cultivate the next generation of regional leaders, and provide the analytical tools that are necessary to navigate complexity. So connectivity across the Indian Ocean must therefore be understood in multiple directions, right? For instance, intellectual connectivity, the exchange of ideas and data scholarship that deepens mutual understanding of regional challenges and opportunities. Then we can also look at connectivity from an institutional point of view, looking at structured collaborations between universities, think tanks, and policy bodies to ensure research informs decision making, the usual mantra of evidence-based policy making. And then the last is human connectivity, which entails mobility of students, joint supervision of doctoral candidates, which we do, our department does with Cutting University, for instance, shared curricula and capacity building initiatives that strengthen regional competence, right? So the Indian Ocean region is marked by extraordinary diversity, as we all know, whether they be linguistic, cultural, political, and economic. And it includes major powers, emerging economics, small island developing states, and at least developed countries. So bridging these diversities requires sustained scholarship engagements that are grounded in mutual respect and shared purpose. So in a period that is marked by intensifying great power rivalry and fragmentation of global governance, the Indian Ocean region must invest in its own intellectual sovereignty. And I think that our research agendas should be shaped by regional priorities, not merely external strategic narrative. So the UNIOR network offers precisely this platform. There's a place where scholars from, the IORA member states can collaborate as equal partners in generating knowledge that serves regional interests. It embodies the principles that sustainable connectivity is built on through ports, priorities, and fiber optic cables, but also through classrooms, laboratories, and research partnerships with one another. So as we proceed today, on this day of this webinar, I encourage our speakers to challenge us to think ambitiously, to ask questions around how we can strengthen knowledge mobility across the region, how to ensure that research findings inform policy at ministerial levels, and also to answer questions around what funding and institutional mechanisms are required to sustain long-term collaborations that are equitable. So let us consider also how digital technologies can expand access and inclusion, particularly for smaller and island states whose voices must remain central to Indian Ocean governance discussions. In closing, I want to thank the IORA Secretariat, our network partners, and all participating institutions for their dedication to this shared endeavor. I say that may today's dialogue not be an endpoint, but a catalyst transforming networks into partnerships, equitable partnerships, and then partnerships into policy impact, and of course, knowledge into tangible regional resilience. I would want to wish us a productive and inspiring webinar. I'm not going to be here for the whole discussions, but I hope that you do have rich discussions that will follow shortly. So with this, I'll yield back to our moderator to carry on with the rest of the program.
Thank you very much, Prof. Christopher. I think it's very important how you highlighted the importance of the region. And certainly as the academic component of that, it's very exciting that the university network has launched, and we really look forward to what is going to come out of that. Thank you. So I will now invite opening remarks from Ms. Zelda Frolick, the director within the IORA Secretariat responsible for academic science, technology, and cooperation, as well as tourism and cultural exchanges. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Distinguished colleagues, good afternoon and welcome to this webinar in celebration of IORA Day under the theme Knowledge Bridges Catalyze Connectivity Across the Indian Ocean. This initiative by the South African chapter of the academic group comes at a time that we, as the IORA community, affirm our commitment to peace, stability, and sustainable development in a region which is at the epicenter for global trade, geopolitical competition, and maritime security. IORA, as the only pan-Indian Ocean intergovernmental platform, brings together member states and dialogue partners with a view to promote regional connectivity, which plays a pivotal role in fostering innovation and facilitating the transfer of knowledge across the region. For the IORA, knowledge transfer is at the center of all capacity building and norm-setting initiatives, recognizing that knowledge bridges are crucial for physical connectivity that are sustained, secured, and strategically directed. It may be recalled that it was during South Africa's chairship of the academic group that closer links between policy and programs across the IORA functional bodies and specialized agencies were emphasized. This was subsequently endorsed in the IORA Vision 2030 and beyond. In an era marked by climate pressures, maritime security challenges, economic transitions, and rapid technological advances, policy decisions must be underpinned by credible research, regional understanding, and cross-disciplinary dialogue. The AG's mandate is both advisory and catalytic, and its strategic values lies in its ability to bridge the policy community and the academic community. When research informs working groups, when scholars engage directly with practitioners, and when young professionals are introduced to multilateral processes, knowledge becomes operational. Allow me, as IORA, to highlight a few initiatives that demonstrate this approach in practice. Firstly is the International Relations in the Indian Ocean Region short course. The second one is the University Network of the Indian Ocean Region, UNIOR, the Early Career Professionals Network under the AG, and the IORA Nelson Mandela Be the Legacy Internship Program. Distinguished colleagues, for IORA to remain relevant in a rapidly shifting global environment, it must deepen the integration between research, policy, and implementation. Knowledge bridges should serve three strategic purposes. Firstly, evidence-based decision-making across IORA priority areas and cross-cutting issues. Secondly, strengthening institutional capacity by building leadership pipelines through mobility programs, exchanges, and professional networks. And fostering regional identity, recognizing that the Indian Ocean is not only a maritime space, but a community of shared interest and shared responsibility. As we celebrate IORA Day, let us reaffirm that connectivity is multidimensional. Physical corridors must be complemented by corridors of knowledge. Strategic dialogue must be informed by research, and policy ambitions must be supported by institutional capacity. Let us therefore move from aspiration to consolidation and strengthen mechanisms that link scholars to policymakers, students to institutions, and ideas to implementation. By building and sustaining these knowledge bridges, we secure a connected, resilient, and future-ready Indian Ocean community. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the organizers, both on that side and then the colleagues in the IORA Secretariat. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Zelda. And we very much appreciate, the support that we are provided from the IORA Secretariat in being able to engage and attend the meeting as academics, especially when it comes to the working groups. And that's really important, I think, the link between that and being able to then provide evidence-based policy, which has been emphasized here today. So I'm now going to ask Mr. Kame Molope, who is the chair of the South African chapter of the Indian Ocean Rim Association's academic group from Northwest University. Kame, please.
Thanks, Nicole, moderator for today's webinar. Zelda Frolic, director from IORA, and your colleagues, keynote speaker Dave Mickler, and our webinar host, Prof. Isike. It's really a pleasure that we are here today, and I want to thank you for complementing the bigger day, which will be announced soon, the day on which we will be celebrating IORA Day. It's a privilege and a pleasure to offer these opening remarks on this day. And I'm going to drift my attention to early career professionals. It is out of dedication and steadfast collaboration with the like-minded that we have a platform through which early career professionals of the Indian Ocean region can gather and network under the banner of the Indian Ocean Rim Association. On the same month that we as South Africans are acknowledging the contribution of former President Nelson Mandela to today, have the Indian Ocean Rim Association, that this platform has taken a regional form led by South Africa. Congratulations, the South African chapter of early career professionals, for taking this lead to build the bridge to catalyze connectivity across the Indian Ocean. At this early stage of development, building this platform should be exciting and demanding, for it holds opportunities for paths in your careers. It is a time of discovery, figuring out not only what you are good at, but what energizes you, challenges you, and inspires you to grow. You are not alone to navigate your careers in the Indian Ocean region. In your early careers, time can be fast-paced and uncertain. You are learning new systems, new expectations, and sometimes even new versions of yourselves. Be assured that to have a community where you can ask questions, share experiences, and learn from each other makes a profound difference. And so I urge you, make the connections, build the relationships that go beyond your localities, your institutions, your job titles, and countries. Find mentors, become mentors, initiate collaborations and collaborate, create partnerships and have honest conversations about ambitions, about setbacks, and about the skills you are still developing, about differences you can make in your respective spheres. I encourage you not to underestimate your impact or even the size thereof in the early years of your careers. Your ideas, your perspectives, your voices and initiatives matter. Where there is doubt, make them matter. We trust that IORA will thrive when its early career professionals are engaged, empowered, and connected. Thank you for being here this morning, investing in yourselves and in each other. To date, it is exciting to see the collaborations, friendships, and leadership that will grow from this community. Be the bridges for effective connectivity in IORA. I thank you.
Thank you very much for those remarks, Kame. Very much reflecting on the early career professionals. And as I think everyone who is aware knows, that is really one area that we are trying to grow and support. So I will now invite Professor David Mickler to provide his keynote address and talk about university network a little bit. And David has really been, I think, the driving force behind this. And we are just really happy to see this initiative take off, because it's been a very long discussion within IORA for a long time. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Nicole, and thanks for that kind introduction. And great to see many colleagues here from the work that we've done collectively over the last several years, as Nicole has mentioned. It's really wonderful to be here to help celebrate IORA Day for 2026 and the important theme of knowledge bridges to catalyse connectivity across the Indian Ocean. Speaking here from Perth in Western Australia, which is Australia's Indian Ocean capital, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which I live and work, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, and pay my respects to elders past and present, and to express our great appreciation for the significant and ongoing contributions of Indigenous knowledges and cultures to the rich humanity of our wider region. I would also like to acknowledge the very dangerous and difficult times facing the region, given the current major war in the Middle East, which directly and deeply affects the diverse peoples and societies of the Indian Ocean region, including substantial loss of life, the undermining of sovereignty, environmental degradation, and the exacerbation of economic hardship, and how this in turn damages the long-standing initiatives promoting regional cooperation. With these remarks today, I want to reflect on the establishment of the IORA Indian Ocean University Network, UNIOR, and highlight how academic diplomacy, initiatives such as UNIOR, can not only serve as knowledge bridges and catalyse connectivity across the Indian Ocean, but also contribute to a sense of shared Indian Ocean regional identity, and consequently help to build more peaceful international relations in the region. In these endeavours, I would argue that our universities have a major role to play as foundational social institutions. A little bit of background to UNIOR. There have been several attempts over many years to create Indian Ocean academic platforms and networks, some more successful, others less successful. But I would particularly like to here pay tribute to the foundational work of my colleague, Professor Vian Attry, the former chair of Indian Ocean Studies at IORA, and now the director of the International Centre for Indo-Pacific Studies at Kurukshetra University in India. In his work, Professor Attry explored a number of ideas for developing Indian Ocean academic mobility and networking, drawing on the example of the Association of Pacific Rim Universities, APRU, and other models, and looking at how they could work in the Indian Ocean Rim context. These ideas, coupled with our collective experience with other university networks, such as the Global Africa Group in the Worldwide Universities Network, the Universitas 21 Group, the ASEAN Universities Network, and the Australia-Africa Universities Network. These collective experiences and insights have helped us to shape the unique design of UNIOR for the Indian Ocean region. In addition, the development over the last decade by a number of Indian Ocean University partners of an annual regional collaborative short course for postgraduate students entitled International Relations of the Indian Ocean Region, or IORA, helped to lay the foundation for the university network by demonstrating the value of regional academic partnerships in practice. This was very much about the doing of international partnerships on an annual basis. Starting in 2017, originally as an Australia-Indonesia university partnership, this collaboration expanded regionally to include first South Africa, and eventually growing to 9 partners, including universities also from India, Mauritius, Bangladesh, Kenya, Reunion, and Seychelles. The course has rotated annual delivery, including in Jakarta, in Pretoria, in Mauritius, and with Kenya to host the next iteration later this year in Mombasa and Nairobi. Through these structured educational interactions, we witnessed the diverse student cohort develop a sense of shared Indian Ocean identity through knowledge and cultural exchange, and they have demonstrated both the willingness and the capacity for academic collaboration to tackle common transnational challenges facing our region. Then, of course, we have the IORA Academic Group, or IORAG, on which I'm proud to represent Australia. Under South Africa's excellent leadership in recent years, IORAG developed a proactive and ambitious work plan from 2022 to 27, under which Australia formally led the development of an Indian Ocean University network. In developing UNIOR, we found that while there were numerous international university networks across the world, including many involving universities from IORA member states, there was in fact no dedicated network connecting the universities of the Indian Ocean region to one another. We undertook a range of regional consultations with key stakeholders to develop the UNIOR model as an Indian Ocean network of the region and for the region. By linking regional universities directly to IORA, we wanted UNIOR to be a platform to enhance the role of academic diplomacy in building knowledge and international cooperation in the Indian Ocean region. UNIOR was formally launched on the 15th of November 2024 at the Curtin University campus in Mauritius by former IORA Secretary General, His Excellency Mr. Salman Al-Farisi. The high-level and lively launch forum featured speeches and panel discussions on the value of regional academic networks. Subsequently, we appointed UNIOR co-chairs, Professor Lina Pelliccioni from Curtin University and Professor Sanjeev Sobhi from the University of Mauritius. We drafted a UNIOR constitution. We have been establishing a secretariat and a financial management system, and we've then sought expressions of interest to join the new network by eligible regional universities. Now, the network is based on institutional membership, not individual membership, so it's different to some other academic networks. And as a result of this, we have an annual membership fee, and that fee is set on a sliding scale depending on national development indicators, which is then pooled and redistributed to fund the network's activities in a self-sustaining way. And this helps to overcome some of the challenges of funding that we've encountered in other networks. Additional funding support will be sought through the IORA Special Fund as well. So to date, we've been delighted to welcome as UNIOR founding members the following 13 universities from the region: Curtin University from Australia, University of Mauritius from Mauritius, University of Pretoria from South Africa, University of Nairobi from Kenya, Kurukshetra University from India, University of Réunion, France, University of Tehran, Iran, University of Dodoma, Tanzania, University of South Africa in South Africa, Ahmad University from Somalia, Nelson Mandela University from South Africa, and two universities from IORA Dialogue partners, the University of Naples, Italy, and the Social Sciences University of Ankara in Turkey. We've been continuing discussions on potential membership expressions of interest with universities from Indonesia, from Kenya, from the UK as a dialogue partner, from South Africa, from the Maldives, and from Australia. We certainly have a lot of interest, and we're really glad to have 13 universities as founding members on board. So what is the vision of UNIOR? The vision is a dynamic regional academic platform delivering higher education and research collaboration to address sustainable development and transformation priorities, build leadership and institutional capacity, and promote regional cooperation across the Indian Ocean. From this vision, we have three core objectives. The first is regional university collaboration for sustainable transformation. To be a flagship IORA platform delivering impactful research and education collaboration to advance knowledge and serve the particular sustainable development and transformation needs of the Indian Ocean region, as identified in the IORA priority areas and cross-cutting issues, as well as the UN SDGs. The second objective is growing regional leaders and education institutions. In this, we aim to facilitate and support regular regional exchanges between academics, students, university leaders, and partners to share expertise, build capacity in the next generation of leaders and institutions, and enhance the Indian Ocean literacy of the next generation of the Indian Ocean academic community. And thirdly, we aim to support IORA's wider region building to help build a transnational Indian Ocean community and regional identity among the diverse peoples of IORA and enhance the capacity of IORA and its member states to promote regional cooperation. So we have come up with 4 key activities initially that will structure the network's operations. The first is to convene an annual high-level forum on a rotational basis to bring together policymakers, diplomats, university leaders, senior and early career researchers, students, and partner organizations. This would be the main annual event at a high level, which we can engage in a dialogue on key issues facing our region and the role of research and education in addressing those. The second activity will be regional collaborative short courses. We currently run the short course that I mentioned earlier, which has been a very successful program, but we could look to run additional short course programs, bringing together groups of students or different stakeholders on particular thematic areas of interest. The third key activity is to establish a collaborative research seed fund scheme so that we can develop our own collaborative research teams, seed fund perhaps small projects, which can be developed into larger projects over time. But the core objective here is to build those research teams that will collaborate together. And the final core activity will be academic exchange programs to help facilitate researcher and student mobility across the region so that, as earlier speakers mentioned, we can really build a sense of collaboration in person throughout the region. The next steps for the network, we are currently planning to convene our inaugural UNIOR high-level forum in Kenya to be hosted by the University of Nairobi later this year. We'll be confirming the dates soon. And this will be convened alongside the next iteration of our annual short course program on the international relations of the Indian Ocean region. In the lead up to this event, we'll be convening a series of webinars hosted by different UNIOR member universities, and we will also be circulating and promoting information on these soon, and we encourage everybody to join in. So in conclusion, by promoting academic diplomacy in the region, UNIOR aims to be a flagship IORA platform connecting academia and government, researchers and diplomats, students and policy practitioners to strengthen our shared regional identity, our Indian Ocean-ness, and to promote cooperation to effectively and peacefully tackle common regional challenges. We thank IORA for its ongoing support, and we do welcome additional expressions of interest in joining the IORA Indian Ocean University Network by prospective members, particularly from universities in countries where we currently don't have members. We really want this to be a network that properly represents the diversity of the Indian Ocean region. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. I think this is really going to be a platform that will, maintain the momentum of academic engagements, between the different IORAG meetings that we normally have, where the agenda is kind of set. So this is really exciting, and as you heard, there are still opportunities to join the network. If you are interested, can reach out to David, and I'm sure it's okay if we can share the information to participants after this meeting. So I am now going to invite Dr. Sonia Turan from the University of Pretoria to provide some remarks on the Ocean Regions program. So this is also very new for us within the academic group, and we are super interested to see what the program is about. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Nicole, and for that excellent introduction from our keynote speaker. And I think it's quite fitting because the Ocean Regions program is, in fact, a product of IORA. But before I delve into that, I think I want to maybe just take a moment to situate oceans within the ORP, the Ocean Regions Program's home discipline of international relations and political sciences. Because oceans is not something that really garnered a lot of attention within the discipline. But we are increasingly seeing that oceans can no longer really be confined to the fringes and margins of international affairs. It's really now increasingly being recognized as something that has importance that extends far beyond, to use one of our key thinkers' words, the global highway for goods and information. It's not just a global highway, it is the artery of our global economies. It's an arena for disputes, as we've seen in recent times with Venezuela, with the events in the Red Sea, and currently what is occurring at the Strait of Hormuz. And in addition to that, it really is the keystone in the climate crisis, being the engine that powers the planet. So, amongst all of this, we are at the same time seeing this tension between governance, ocean governance innovation, as well as challenges. For example, while on the one hand we see CAMLAR, which protects the marine environment in Antarctica, under threat, we're also seeing recent treaties like the High Seas Treaties, which aims to protect a substantial portion of the world's oceans. So, with that context in mind, we at the Department of Political Sciences at the University of Pretoria, we're really looking towards how do we bring oceans to the fore in the discipline. And this was originally inspired by the joint IORA course, which has been mentioned a couple of times today, led by Curtin University. And when the late Professor Maxi Schoeman participated in that course, that is really what inspired her to start a research initiative in 2018 to focus on this issue of oceans and international relations, which slowly was formalized over time, particularly in 2022 when the ORP had its first colloquium, which has really now become central to the program, the annual colloquia on oceans research. The aim of the ORP is really started off as a means to confront the sea blindness, both in our academic and policy spaces when it comes to international affairs and relations. And it sought to do this by examining the growing strategic, political, and economic importance of ocean regions and the governance of those spaces, to deepen our understanding of how ocean regions are being constructed and governed amidst the shifting geopolitical dynamics that we are currently in, and finally to spotlight Africa's vast maritime domain and issues of significance for African stakeholders in the ocean regions. So, with that aim in mind, what has the ORP done and what is it doing? The major focus, which I think is very pertinent to our conversations today, is about knowledge collaboration. The ORP developed a network of academic partnerships through IORA, the university network. It also utilized the Erasmus Plus mobility initiatives to promote collaboration and mobility on oceans research, and various other initiatives with supports of institutions like the National Institute for Humanities and Social Sciences. As I mentioned, the sort of flagship project, which has been promoting this collaboration, has been the colloquium. We have had 4 annual colloquiums amongst many other ad hoc events that have brought researchers together on ocean regions. But the colloquia has brought together scholars of, just to name a few, from South Africa, Mozambique, Brazil, Portugal, Kenya, Nigeria, Mauritius, Cameroon, Rwanda, India, Greece, Australia, UK, and US. And as you will see there's really a focus about spotlighting global South research on the oceans, which has really been pushed forward in these colloquia. And themes that we've discussed have ranged from ocean governments to laws of the sea, ocean region making, climate change, emerging technologies, territoriality, and sovereignty. And in doing these colloquia, we always seek to partner with various institutions, including the Institute for Security Studies, the Atlantic Center in Portugal, and the Africa Center for the Study of the US. The outcomes of this, the main outcome of these colloquia has been a strong network of partners who we like to call the Friends of the ORP, both in policy and academic spaces, which really kind of leads to the second major activity of the ORP, which is to try and bridge the academic policy divide and to make sure that we are continuously engaging with those in decision-making and policy-making positions. So in addition to always including practitioners, particularly from the Navy and government, in these colloquia, the ORP has conducted regular interviews with policy members to make sure we're staying abreast of the key issues of the date. In addition to that, we've had site visits to Maersk, Itimba Labs, Navy Museum, Coburg in Cape Town. And finally, the ORP produces regularly op-eds, which are published on our LinkedIn page, which have really gained a lot of traction. And I do encourage everyone, we've recently released our call for contributions. These op-eds are open for anyone with an interest in oceans research to make sure that their research is getting out there, not just in academic journals, but wider spaces as well. The final main activity of the ORP, which is really what is close to my heart and a testament of the mentoring that Professor Skuman did, is capacity building. In the 4 or so years since ORP was really kind of formalized, we've had, I think, about 3 postdoctoral fellows, 1 PhD graduate, several MA graduates, one who has now continued into her PhD, also working on oceans research. So we really seek to identify and foster emerging scholars with an interest in the oceans moving forward. In terms of the next phase of the Ocean Regions program, there's been 2 key realizations that is framing how we want to take the program forward. While we started off really trying to battle sea blindness, and while there is an ongoing challenge of sea blindness, our question now is, how do we move towards understanding what an ocean-aware Africa and South Africa looks like? And to do this, the second realization is that there must be an interdisciplinary focus. At each of the colloquium, it became more and more evident that we need experts in law, we need experts in technology, we need experts in trade, and the oceans is a very interdisciplinary space. So we really want to move the program in that direction, and we're really keen on any partnerships. And in particular, we're wanting to look at exploring old and new epistemologies and ontologies of the ocean to move beyond understanding the ocean as a territory to be exploited or something to be fought over. And we're also looking towards identifying opportunities for agency in the maritime space from the global south, particularly considering the immense upheaval we are seeing in the Indian Ocean at the moment. So moving forward, we're looking towards expanding the program to include interdisciplinary research and experts, as well as intercontinental engagement, which I think is where IORA has been really valuable for this program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sonia. It's I think as you probably hit the nail on the head there, that we need different disciplines to come together to combat also the sea blindness that there is, and the more people, the more researchers and academics and networks motivating for why the ocean is so important to sustainable development and economic and social security. I think the better and the more impact we will have in terms of influencing, hopefully influencing our political principles to support what we do and to see the value in that. So thank you for your remarks. So now we're going to go to some reflections from participants from the Indian Ocean Regions short course. So I am, sorry, let me just find Ruth and invite her to provide her remarks. Thank you. Ruth, you should be able to unmute.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Awesome. So yes, my name is Ruth Kasanga, and I'm a master's student in international relations in the second year master's at the University of Pretoria here in South Africa. I was a participant in the course in 2024 in my honors year. And yeah, I'm going to be sharing some reflections on how that went and what that taught me. So in terms of what I found fun, I think the first thing is that I got to live out what I study in my textbooks or in my readings or in a lecture hall. I think that's very important to take an abstract concept and show how it plays out in reality, as that improves the learning experience. As when you can see something play out in real life, it's much more easier to apply that concept, whether it's in your assignments or even in practice. So I think that was the most critical aspect for me, is that I got to see what I learned play out in real life. In terms of what was interesting, firstly, it was getting to see and understand and conceptualize the Indian Ocean region beyond just supporting livelihoods or being a tourist economy. As someone who grew up in Durban, it was very easy for us to understand the sea as a place where we go to during the holidays, or where we go to for fun, or where it brought in a lot of tourism revenue during the holiday season. But the sea is much more than that. So it was incredible to see that the sea is critical for national interest, which is why it's important for us to start understanding the sea and conceptualizing it from an African perspective and have African agency, as Dr. Theron has mentioned in her reflections as well. But beyond the whole idea of it being important for African agency, what was interesting for me is that, firstly, getting to be in Mauritius showed me that we are more similar than we are different. So collaborating with different institutions around the Indian Ocean region and being in Mauritius showed me that, firstly, the climate and the food felt like I was in Durban once again. Collaborating with people from different universities and different countries, sure, we may be different nationalities, but at the end of the day, we were all students learning something new. And there's a lot that we could gain from each other, but also a lot of similarities. And I think that was very beautiful to see that in person, because we're in a time where the world is increasingly becoming divided on every single front, whether it is on identity, nationality, because of national interests. So I think that course is important, bringing different people together to show that we're much more similar than we think that we are. For me, what was most impactful, though, was that the course was very intentional in bringing in local perspectives, and that showed me the value of Indigenous knowledge, whether that was through our excursions around the island. We visited a museum, for example, apologies, whether that is us having local lecturers, or we visited a lab, if I'm not mistaken, please correct me, Prof. Nicola, but we visited a lab as well, and they showed us how local communities were taking care of their coral reefs, for example. And it spoke to the importance of how us as academics can sometimes exclude local perspectives. And that's very important, in that we need to understand how the everyday individual has been able to take care of their own environment or their part of the ocean, and implement that into our research as well, because these people were able to take care of what was always been there, and we might just come in and bring perspectives that might not even work for their communities. So it was nice to see that the course is very intentional in including local perspectives and Indigenous knowledge. In terms of how participating in the course has benefited my studies, I think it really highlighted the importance of, firstly, language and how we conceptualize what we think is just an everyday thing. So if you're from a country with an ocean or from a coastal town, it's very easy to disregard it. It's just like a body of water. I go there for fun. It brings me money during the holidays. But as has been repeated by the previous speakers, the ocean, especially the Indian Ocean region, is a very important place where there is geopolitical contestation taking place. So the importance of language, for example, calling it the Indo-Pacific region versus the Indian Ocean region, which brings about the question of epistemic violence and also empirical consequences, because African countries are sidelined when we are supposed to have very critical strategies and positions in what is affecting us every day. And we see it in how this plays out in international relations, in the news, for example. So the main thing that was, of course, highlighted is the importance of language and for agency in how we understand and how we collaborate with or on the Indian Ocean region. So I think I'll end there with my reflections, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak about how the course impacted me.
Thank you so much, Ruth. It's really heartening to see just how you really, I think engaged with the coursework, and I think that that's really kind of a reflection of everyone's dedication within the different university partners to provide their students with such an amazing experience. I'm now going to ask Ms. Urvashi Appiah, who participated in the course, to please provide her reflections. I have asked you to unmute. Are you able to? Okay, let me just see if I change my settings. Okay, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. I will just be sharing my screen. I prepared a little thing with a few pictures.
Okay, it's up.
Can you yeah, all right.
It needs to be put into presentation mode.
Yeah. Yeah, all right.
There we go.
Is it okay? Okay,
Yes,
great.
that's good.
Hello, everyone. So that's a little introduction of who I am. I'm Urvashi Appiah from Mauritius, and I'm currently working as a program officer at the IORA Secretariat. So my role is to overlook the trade investment facilitation priority area, which also includes the Indian Ocean Rim Business Forum and the implementation of the IORA climate change strategic agenda at the Secretariat. So I was also part of the short course on international relations in the Indian Ocean region. I was from the January 2022 batch, which was done online. I still remember that it was in one of those peak of COVID, and I still had to, present, even though I was actually diagnosed with COVID on the last day on the presentation day. So that was quite a highlight for me. So I was part of the batch while I was completing my master's degree in regional integration at the University of Mauritius. And on the screen, you will see my group mates. And you will see that we were all from a different country around the Indian Ocean region. I think that was quite an experience to be able to work on a project or a presentation together. And my batchmate Ritika is in the room right now, so a small shout out to her. And I also had the chance of shadowing the 2023 batch, which was implemented in Mauritius, and I had the chance of visiting the IORA Secretariat back then. Little did I know that a little bit a year, a little bit over a year after that visit, I would actually become a staff of IORA. So I now see those flags every single day. So having both experiences, online and in person as well, were quite different experiences, as you can tell. We I would highly recommend having the visits face to face, really meeting people, but it doesn't minimize what implementing the batch or the course online can do as well, because I'm still in touch with my batchmates, and I even had the chance of meeting them face to face after those weeks implement during the courses. And I can tell that, having those people around really make a change. So that's something that we often overlook. So a few things about that I personally experienced through this short course is that it's allowed me to have a better understanding on international relations, which is a field complementary to regional integration, economics and law modules that I covered during my master's degree in regional integration. So it really allowed me to deepen my, interdisciplinary understanding to tackle world issues or regional issues. And making friends across the region really makes a big change, really makes a big difference, and truly feeling like a child of this ocean, this Indian Ocean. I personally had a better understanding of the Indian Ocean, and I had a better sense of belonging to the Indian Ocean after this course. And you can see that, so that was the 2023 batch. I just bought a few local fruits that were in season, and I just shared it with everyone. And I think it was one of my highlights as well with the 2023 batch, because sharing food is always a very nice way of connecting with people. So the course also inspired me to expand my focus, not just from a continent-centric worldview, to an ocean-centric one, and work for the region. So topics like the blue economy, for example, is something that I've taken a lot of interest in after the course, or even during the course. It was already in conversation when I was doing my master's degree, or even before that. But the deepening of the understanding of the implications, especially in terms of international relations, was a big highlight for me during that course. So that was a little bit about my experience. I know we're also running out of time. So thank you very much. And I'm open for any question if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Urvashi. Yeah, I know that we didn't really schedule this into our program, but I'm going to ask if there's anyone that wants to put up their hand, and we'll allow maybe 2 questions. If there is any burning questions, and just indicate who you are directing your question to. Okay, no hands, and I don't think that there's anything in the chat either. Okay. Since there are no questions, thank you so much for that, Urvashi. I think really nice that you got to do the online course and then also got to participate in the in-person event. I think it's just so important for us to be able to come together in person. I think, as you said, COVID, it was a really difficult time. It was a difficult time for the IORA's academic group as well, in terms of the engagement. We tried our best to continue the connections, but I don't think until that point we had realized just how important it is for career building and for networking, especially for the early career professionals, that there is the opportunity not only to talk to potential mentors and supervisors, and the possible job opportunities that might come out of that, just because you have had that experience, and also for everyone going to a country and being able to take your experiences home and be able to share that in your home country as well, and how important that is. So just to end off today, this webinar was really to kind of showcase what is happening within IORA, because I don't think, if we don't do it, then no one else will. I think that there is so much happening. And as we move to celebrating IORA Day on the 7th of March, I think that there is definitely a lot to celebrate in terms of what we are doing. This is just a reflection of the academic group's work, which is where we all fall in. And I think from South Africa's side, there is 100% commitment to continue our engagement within IORA and to continue supporting our different universities and our different academics to participate in the different groups within IORA. So I really just want to say thank you for everyone for attending. Thank you so much to all our speakers. I've certainly learned a lot as well, and I hope that we can continue to take this engagement. Well, I know we will continue to take these engagement forward. If anyone wants to join our network, please do reach out. We will send some information after this webinar for where you can find more information about all of this and all the different contacts. So thank you so much for attending and have a lovely day further. Have a lovely evening, David. Thank you so much for attending so late. Bye, everyone.